Another nice module that is also good for mainly personal usage is the Shelve module. The Shelve module is more like a dictionary, and its values are mainly pickled and pickled. That's why it shares still a lot of the disadvantages of the pickles. Behind the scene, it acts more like a database based on key value things, but the key must be typically a string. So here is how we do it. You import to Shelve, we have again our own data, and then we start to open it, which is by default for both reading and writing. But here observe we don't use the normal open function, we have to use the shelve.open. Now think of this shelf as a dictionary. You can write something like shelf of data equal data, shelf of list equal list. But observe the keys should be string. For example, if you try to use something like shelf of 10, it will fail. So that's all about writing and actually reading in Shelve. It's very flexible in the data. It will write it in binary format, but you just use key value structure. Shelve will create 3 files here, 3 binary files mainly for its usage. You shouldn't again play with them. If you would like to read, you first of all, like a dictionary, you have keys in your shelf. So you can get your bunch of keys from shelf.keys, and you can iterate and print the key, and shelf of key, it will return back the data that you have. One of the clear advantages here about Shelve compared to pickle, that only the data that you access will be loaded. For example, let's say that your shelf has 100 entry, and you access only 3 of them, then only the 3 will be loaded. This is another advantage for the Shelve. So Shelve is easy to retrieve a specific thing and also more memory efficient than the pickle. This is its main advantage. Updating Shelve is very straightforward. Let's say that you would like to add or update something. You just open it and start to add something here. However, there are some common mistakes when people deal with Shelve. The first mistake is updating in the wrong way. Someone might try to open the shelf and then shelf of numbers.append 111, and he would think that this is a list of numbers and I'm appending 111, so the shelf in memory should be updated. This will not be the case. If you try to print the shelf again, it will be just as it is without a change. The right way is to get it and then assign it. So you need to assign this way to update something in the shelf itself. The second mistake here is to not notice that behind the scene is like a database, a file of entries. If you try to list the keys of our updated shelf, you will observe the 2 old entries and the 2 new entries are updated. What happens is the shelf is like a file with entry for data and entry for list. Then 2 slides ago here, we bought these 2 entries. They are actually added to the content, not removing old ones. So it's like you are opening the old database and adding 2 entries here. So this is the second mistake to assume when you are writing your file and doing here writings as if this is starting from scratch. No, this isn't from scratch. This is a file that will be loaded. It has its own keys and values, and you are now adding to it. If you are using an old key, it will be updated. If you are using a new key, it will be added, but all the keys will be there. So this mainly are the 2 common mistakes that you have when dealing with the shelf. If you would like to delete an old key, you can do it again very similar to dictionary. You can use delete this key, delete this key. Now if you try to print the old items, they will be printed in a normal way. That's all about Shelve. Main culture. Shelve as values, the values of Shelve itself are pickled and pickled. So Shelve has like keys, but each value is pickled and pickled, and this means again there's the same security issue as pickle. Sometimes it might be overall also again slower. It's better than pickle by itself, but overall it's still slower. One of the issues you shouldn't try to open 2 Shelve files in concurrent process. Concurrent process means like 2 separate programs or 2 separate threads are trying to access the same file. This would be very problematic. The way to go, something advanced like databases. Again, overall good for your local apps, but it have very similar limitation to pickle. It's little more flexible in access, good in memory load, but behind the scene is more like a file based. But overall, again, for your local apps, never use it on a server level. That's all.